Okay, I know it's been a minute, but we had a new ban list, and people are mixed on it. I personally think it's fine, but there are some people who are mad about a certain card not getting hit. I don't really care per se because the deck I'm talking about has outs to it. Anyway, we're talking about Adamancipator again. The last version I played was the standard Halq version with a few changes just because I don't have a key cards like Baron. But with Halq being gone, I found another way to play this. I was actually playtesting it the night before the ban list came out, just in case for those who didn't have Halq or didn't want to get Halq. And what do you know? Halq got banned, so this was actually really good. So let's do the card by card. We, of course, are playing 3 Analyzer. This is your favorite normal summon here. Analyzer is really good. It also can be Cyber Dragon, so if you're going second, it can special summon itself and even save you a normal summon. You play 3 of this because it's a level 4 tuner, and it's of course one of the main Adamancipator cards. You're gonna play 3 of each of the tuners, but they all have their little quirks. This is a Cyber Dragon, and it's gonna share the same effect with the other 2 tuners, where it can excavate the top 5 and special summon any level 4 or lower non-tuner rock monster. And you put the bottom on your deck in any order. Just gonna get out the way now. The tuners share this, but they all act a little different on their special summon condition. This is your best normal summon, and it's gonna be a Cyber Dragon if you're going second. The best tuner is Researcher. Researcher is great because it can special summon as long as you control a rock, which a vast portion of your deck is. So you normally don't have issues special summoning this. It's also just level 2 tuner, same issue where it can excavate, but Researcher is going to be really good in extending your plays or making a bad hand somewhat playable. Next, you play Seeker. Seeker's good. Seeker's the worst out of the 3 in my opinion. As much as I like Seeker, the only issue is you have to have an Adamancipator monster. This isn't really hard to do in the build that I played because I play a different... I play a decent amount of Adamancipator monsters, but if you're playing a different build where you're playing less of the synchros or something, this can be an issue coming up. But I do like... You still need to play 3 Seeker, I feel like. It's just... These 3 cards, they're the core of the deck. You kind of need to play 3 of each one. Moving on from Adamancipator little tuners, we're playing 3 Doki Doki. Really good normal summon if you end up in that situation. Can also basically, as long as you have another rock in your hand, can get you to any card. If you open 2 Doki Doki, normal summon, pitch Doki Doki, you can get Researcher or Seeker. You open with one of the Mirus, you can pitch that, get Analyzer. It can basically get you started from anywhere. Really good card. I would not play less than 3. This is a like honorary 4th Adamancipator card at this point. You need to play 3 Doki Doki. It's just too good. I wouldn't change that ratio at all. Next up, 3 Mirror Guardian. Mirror Guardian is interesting. It's a monster negate. The only cost is you need to reveal at the end of your turn a Iron Core, the Core Kamiru, or a rock monster. Most of your deck is rocks. As long as you end up with a rock in hand, this can stick. Also, it can just negate monster effects, so it's pretty good, and it negates and destroys. So it's really nice to get rid of issues on your opponent's board, and if you can weave this into your end board, you're going to be sitting pretty the next turn for sure. Worst case scenario, it is level 4 and a rock, so it does work, but that negate does sometimes come up, especially if you end with a Science. We have 3 Supplier. Supplier can special summon itself as long as a rock monster is sent to the grave, and when it's normal or special summon, oh no, it's just special summon, my bad. When it's special summon, you can add 1 Iron Core of the Kawaki Mirror, that doesn't matter. More importantly, you can add any card that specifically lists Iron Core of the Kawaki Mirror, which Kawaki Mirror Guardian does. It's really useful for that effect. So basically, you send a rock to the grave off a Link or a Synchro Summon. It can special summon itself and then get your Guardian to hand, which is super nice, especially if you can get to this point without using your normal. You can worst case normal Guardian and have that negate. Next, we're down 2 Dragite. Dragite's in here because it's water, and that does come up. And also, if it's special summoned by the Adamancipator, it can draw you a card, which also comes up. It also has 0 attack, which unfortunately comes up too. It also has another effect to return, like water monsters from synchros from the grave, but that doesn't come up too much. It's just the fact that it draws you a card and it's water. It's also a rock, so this is important, making sure that your mills are successful. You want around minimum 13 relevant targets, and Drakeite's a really good pick. Next up, we're playing Cathorin of Hidden Gem of the Seafront. This card just came out in Power the Elements. Probably supposed to be played with Sprite or something because it's a level 2, but it's a level 2 rock monster that you can discard to normal summon an earth or water monster in your main phase in addition to your normal. So if you have this in your opener and you open 2 cards that will want to be normal summoned, you can just normal summon both. Like if you open Quacky Mirror Guardian and Adamancipator Crystal Drakeite and then this card, and then 2 other cards, like they don't do anything for you, you can pitch this, normal summon both, go into Gallic Granite, pitch, add Researcher, start your combo. It's just, this card's insane. It's also water, so it gets off Drakeite's ability, and it's a rock, so it can be milled. Also, if this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon it. That does come up sometimes, but it's a pretty good card to add in here. You're gonna notice I'm not playing Plague Spreader in this build, but that's because we're not playing Halq, and it was kind of really just in there as a Halq target, and it was an unfortunate brick. So the fact that we're not playing it now is actually really good because we don't brick on it. Instead, we're playing Cathorin, which you don't brick on. So next up, of course, 3 signs. Just not once per turn. And it's Monster Reborn for rock monsters. I don't know why you wouldn't play this. It only helps you. It's so good. You need to play this at 3. And remember, if you didn't activate Drakeite's effect already, and you use this to get it out of the grave, it does draw you a card. And the great thing is, if you summon the Adamancipator off this, you get to stack the deck. So you kind of put a level 4 lower rock monster on the top. So what you can do is, you use it to get Drakeite out the grave. Chainlink 1, Drakeite, Chainlink 2, Signs. Signs adds the card on top of the deck, and then Drakeite draws you the card. So you can essentially pick what card you need into your hand. This is insane. You play 3 of this. Remember, it can target any rock monster, not just an Adamancipator. So like I said, if you go through your full combo and you have this in your hand at the end, you can use it to get back Guardian, and now you have a monster negate on the field, assuming you have a rock in hand to keep it. Pretty good. Next up, 3 Parallel Exceed. This card's still good. I'm surprised no one's using this in anything, but sometimes you end up with one of these in your hand, and it's really good because it's a wind, and the wind will be relevant in a second. But this can basically get you in a situation where you have like 4, well, I guess it's really hard to have 4 bricks, but say you have like 4 really cards you can't use, and then like Drakeite, you can go Drakeite, link into Almirage, and then Parallel Exceed, and then you can of course get Granite, and we talked about this, get Granite, get Researcher, start your combo. Parallel Exceed's really good. I would play 3 of this in here. I think you play enough really easy to summon link monsters to make Parallel Exceed useful. Playing 3 Small World. Small World's good. There's a lot of bridges, which I think I will just make a different video on to go over a lot of the possible ones, because there are a lot of bridges and it can be really useful to have that knowledge of all of them. It's definitely important. This card's really good. When it first was announced, I thought it'd be broken. It still is. If you don't have Small World, you can play a different card here. I was originally playing Adamancipator Residence before. That's a really good card, but Small World's just really good on consistency's sake. You can turn something like an Ash Blossom into a Researcher. So, next up, 2 Nibiru. I found 2 to be just a good number. When you want to see it, it's there, but there's sometimes you don't want to see this. Your worst thing is opening 3 Nibiru. I've done that multiple times back when I was playing 3. I feel like 2 is a very good number here. And as I've always said, the token that you get, the Nibiru is a rock, and if they Nibiru you, the token you get is a rock. So your combos continue. Next up is Ash. I don't have to explain why this is in here. Ash Blossom's in here because it, stops your opponent from touching the deck. It can end a turn if used correctly. And it's a fire, which is relevant for one of the synchros that barely comes up. And then 3 Imperm. Just Imperm, good hand trap. You go in second. Ash and Imperm, if you're lucky in that hand, could end a turn very quickly. So for the extra deck, we're playing Almirage. This turns a Dragite or like a Doki Doki that got ashed into Almirage, and if you have Exceed in your hand, you can combo off that. So this is not terrible. It's really good at getting rid of cards on the field that you just rather not see. We also play 1 IP. IP's really good, and also helps you like link line on your opponent's turn. You can go into something like a unicorn that can't be, you know, destroyed by card effects, or you can go into something like a Sword Dragon, or if you have like, I guess, access code, you can do that. But IP is good. I think you just play one. It's not hard to make, and then the amount of times it comes up, it's just nice to have one. We're playing 2 Sprite Elf. So this card's generic. You just need a level 2, which Cathoran is a level 2, Doki Doki is level 2, Researcher, Seeker. You have 12 level 2s in the deck. You can make this card pretty easy. Also, don't forget you can use a link to make it. So it's pretty good. If you haven't read this, it can't be used as link material to turn its link summon, but that doesn't count your opponent's turn when you can use IP to just, you know, go into a rank 4. But your opponent cannot target the monsters this card points to its card effects, which means that if you just set up your board where your threats are pointed to by Elf, they can't be targeted, and it's pretty good. Also, whenever you make Elf, well, it shouldn't during the main phase, but you can do it after you make Elf. You can actually just target a level 2 monster in your graveyard and special summon it. It's pretty good. I don't know, you make it, and then you can special summon back the tuner that you use to make it, so I feel like double Elf is just really good. 1 unicorn, like I said, you can get IP to make it not destroyed by card effects, and then it can bounce back a card. We all know why we love unicorn. 1 Apple, I don't know how I feel about this card in this deck at the moment. I play it right now because sometimes it is useful to go into, but this could theoretically be a different card, something like Baron or access code, if you have access to those. But if you don't, Apple's not bad. It's not terrible. You can make it consistently. It's just, it could be better. Same with Borosword. I like Borosword a lot. This is the poor man's access code, and it can definitely OTK if your opponent's not paying attention. So I recommend this card if you don't have access. You can use it to quickly OTK. Your opponent just doesn't see it coming. They never do. I've killed multiple opponents by like attacking with Dragite, and then attacking with this, switching Dragite to defense, and then attacking again. And that's 9k in like a single turn. It can end turns when they're not paying attention. Next up, Granite. Granite searches you a rock. Abyss Dweller shuts down the graveyard. With one of the decks being tier right now, Abyss Dweller's insane. You can just stop their entire play. And since it's just 2 level 4s, you can kind of just make it and have it sitting there. And if you have a Sprite Elf pointing to it, they can't even like target it with card effects. So really good card. Next up, Herald. If you can get it on the board, it's pretty good. And once again, it starts banishing stuff. Any monster sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard is banished instead. Shuts off tier. It's a pretty good card to have. We play 2 Raptite. Raptites, I don't want to say it's mandatory at 2, but you want to play 2 of them. I feel like the fact that I only have 1 Raptite has come up more than I'd like to admit. Having 2 of this card means that if something happens to your first copy, you can always make a second one. And because Raptite can actually summon a tuner off of his effect, if you use his effect and you hit the tuner that, let's say you say you haven't used the tuner yet, let's say you used Researcher and Seeker, and you mill Analyzer off this, you can special summon it, and then you have Analyzer's effect online. I feel like Raptite's really good at 2, and if there's a wind in the grave, it's a DD Crow, which can be extremely useful. I noticed a lot of answers to tier in this specific build, but I mean, that's just because tier is a little powerful. So But DD Crow's really good, and it's just good in general. You can just always stop graveyard plays, which is always nice. Still playing the one Leonite. It rarely comes up, but the fact that you have like Ash, which is a fire, and it ends up engraved, this does help. And like Elf is fire, like this can help. I mean, a reborn on your opponent's turn. Worst case, you can reborn Guardian. That's what I usually use it for. It doesn't come up enough, but it can be important. You don't have to play this one. You can play better cards, but I like Leonite a lot. But I would say if I had Baron, probably wouldn't be in here. Next up, a Savage. We play a decent amount of Links, and Savage gets a decent amount of use out of it. It just being annoying. You have barrel counters on it. It can negate stuff. It can get a decent amount of attack. It's just an annoying card. So I feel like Savage is a decent play. And of course, we play one Dragite. Spell Trap negate, bounces monsters back to the deck. Kinda good. So it's just, it returns them to the hand. It's just a really good card. You want to play one. I used to play 2 on a different build, but I felt like 2 didn't come up as much as like 2 wrap type. So I feel like this is really good. And the fact that if you have a water engraved, you can get a spell trap negate is really interesting too. I like it a lot. But that is my updated Adamancipator build. I didn't expect some of these cards to be as useful. Like, when this card came out, I was reading it and I was thinking it might be good, and then after some playtesting, I was like, oh, this card's a little better than I thought. And so I'm glad I'm liking this list a lot. This is a lot of fun. It helps that you don't have to use Halq, and this, like I said, gets rid of a brick that is Plague Spreader. As much as I like that card, if you drew it, it was dead. Unless you, in the voice part, you can even use Cthulhu to get the extra normal off of it because it's not an earth or water. I will point out that I think everything except like Ash Blossom and Nibiru and Paralyxy, well, you're not normal summoning Paralyxy. But yeah, everything except Ash Blossom and Nibiru is earth, except for Cthulhu and the Dragite Crystals. So that extra normal summoning is for like literally anything in here. If you want to waste it on like Supplier, Doki Doki, Guardian, you could. That's how useful that is in here. So that's the deck. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I am still working on the Exo Sister. I have a list and I've been practicing it a bit, but I want to be able to explain why every card will be useful, like I can in here. So I'm still working on the Exo Sister build, but I am enjoying the deck a little bit. I am happy because every day draws us close to Darkwing Blast, where I get my for higher support. So anyway, bye.